Once we have completed all that, the next step is to create this supervisory organization using the task create supervisory. And for that, so now when we go ahead and create a supervisory organization, this will be our top level supervisory, and we'll create it using the task create supervisory organization. We'll see if you want to include the manager name in this. Subtype will be now department, division, group. It could be any of these depending upon how your company operates. Ideally, the top level subtype should be supervisory. And below that, some companies have departments, then groups, then divisions. Some companies has divisions, groups, and departments. So it's company to company. There is no specific guideline for this. And you can create your own subtypes as well. So I'll go ahead with and use department. Visibility for this definitely has to be to everyone because they should be able to see the org chart. And just on the top level, you have to give a primary location, which I think, let me create one as well. So it's an operation center, we'll put in phone numbers. Standard hours 40. This would be Pacific. Now, when you create your top level supervisory organization, please watch this very carefully. Only once you have to define which staffing model. This is your second core concept, which we'll start upon today. Which particular staffing model you will use, position management or job management. You have to define it at the top level. Not for each organization, because each organization will inherit from the top. But at the top level, when you create the first organization, which is ideally for the CEO or like the board of directors, whoever is at the top of the hierarchy chain, you have to define this. Now, let's say we want to use position management. We'll go into the detail of each of these, but just for the sake of demo, I'll select one. In the assigned roles, you have to minus out anything that there is. So keep that blank for all the organization types that you have at the moment. Now, this is where we attach our company and our cost center. You can see organization assignments. So if you break the term organization, you already know three other types, which is company, cost center, location, and location hierarchy. Basically, four other types. Out of that, you will add in these two here. Now, what this will do is anytime you do a hire in this organization or any of the subordinates, these organization will also be a default inheritance. What does that mean? Let's say I'm hiring 5 people in one of the subordinates in one of the organization that report to this, which also has these organization assignments. They will also be a member of Velvet Private Limited and a member of Velvet CC1 as a member of one of the supervisory organizations. So when you hire someone, there is a task in the hire process, which is called as change organization assignments. There's a dedicated task for it. I can show you the business process for it. It's called change organization assignments. You can see multiple versions of it. This one, change organization assignments for worker. This is usually a sub-process in the hire business process. Let's see here they have used it in hire. The initiation happens, everything happens here. And here it is, change organization assignments. In this step, the particular thing any hiring or any recruiter that has to do is make sure that they're associated with the right company and right cost center. If your organization has multiple companies, you can list them down here. But what would be the default when you add them here? Let's say you have another company, Purple Private Limited, which is also a subsidiary of Velvet or another entity in its own. You can add that here. So at the time of when that task comes of change organization assignment, the recruiter or whoever the hiring person is following the process will be able to use a drop down and select whether this member will be associated with Velvet or Purple. And if you have other types of organization, you can see there are multiple types of organizations. Not all of them are Workday delivered. Like Agile Tribe is not a Workday delivered one. So you can add those here. But for our use case is only till company and cost center. So Renika, this is where we attach it. So you understood creation of the very first one, Velvet CEO, right? That's your top level. Now you want 4 different entities in itself. It could be research, engineering, finance, sales. Now, what I'll do is you go to the related actions here and you want them to report to CEO. Is that the case or not? So you go to the reorganization and use the option of create subordinate. Now focus one thing here. This thing that we created is of type supervisor. Now the next thing that we are doing is also creating another supervisor. It's just that it will be called a subordinate because it reports to one of the supervisory organization that we have. So go to the related actions. We'll go to reorganization, create subordinate. Okay. I'm going to use 119112000 for all my setup going forward. You should use first of the month, or you can use this also. I'm going to name it as executive. Include the name. Now let's say I call it. So usually faster, but for some reason it's slower today. Select this as my division. I don't have to enter anything else. No staffing model, no organization assignments. Once I submit this, you would notice that it's inheriting this. Now we have a subordinate called as Velvet Executive. If you notice the staffing model, it's being inherited. Organization assignments, it's picking up those. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and edit this, and I'll just mark it the name as, I'll just change the name. I don't want to change any date. I want to use the same date that I have. So I'll continue to use my top level and create few more subordinates using the reorganization, create subordinate. Generate organization subtype, again, division. If I go here, I have engineering, I have sales. I'll go ahead and create another one. Use this. So I have 3 different divisions reporting to the CEO, and all of them have the same staffing model, which is position management, have the same organization assignments, which is company and cost center. Let's say I want to associate a different cost center with this. And like you said, you want a different one. So I'll create one first. Now I go back to my, it's the sales one that I created. I go back to this, related actions. This option is not coming up. There's an option which should come here, change organization assignment. And it should be here in the organization. Is it here? Go. So we can, like, to your question, Renika, we can definitely change it, even if it's inheriting. So option is coming here. Should be here. Okay. Now, edit does not. Okay, you can do it in the edit also. So here I can add in the other one, which is your well-known CC sales. But ideally, this is not the way of doing it. This is like the back-end way of doing it. This is not. So now this one has the same company, but a different cost center. So to your question, yes, you can do that. And ideally, that is actually the way we do it. But not through this. There's a different task called as change organization assignments. That is what we use. All right. So what we did just now is created a top level organization. And if we observe, we'll observe the org chart and then the navigate hierarchy, and I'll share what the difference is. Org chart is a worker level setup. Like it gives you the view for at the worker level. So in our organization, we don't have any workers yet. So probably you won't get a better view of it. But let's navigate to existing setup. Where this employee already, this organization already has employees in it. So this is a org chart, right? You can see employees on the limelight. Their names are being highlighted, and their title, their location. This can be like this can be changed. Like you want to display the title and the location, you can change that. Now, versus you can see their supervisory organization highlighted on the top, right? Versus if I navigate, just right here. Versus if I navigate to the other option, which was navigate hierarchy, in that the organization structure is on the highlight, not the work employee organization chart. There's some kind of data loads happening in the backend, which is making everything slow in the front end. And in the organization chart, you have this option of customize chart view. You can remove this, disable this so that you don't see any extra boxes like this for any open positions. It basically keeps your organization chart clear. Let's see how this is loaded. So from here, I'll use the other option, which is your navigate hierarchy. The earlier view was of the org chart. Now here, if you see, you have the organization highlighted. So this is more specific to the organization. It should have been named organization chart, but it's used to the navigate hierarchy. You can see that these are the different organizations with their type and subtype, like supervisory department. The top one is supervisory division. So depending upon each company, how they want to set it up, you can have supervisory department and these ones are supervisory division. It does not make a difference. The primary thing to focus here is all these are of type supervisory. Now in this case, HR service department is a subordinate to human resources. You can see this particular HR service department has a superior, which is human resources, which makes this a subordinate. And this one is a superior to all these organizations. But the primary thing to understand is all of these are of type supervisory. Superior and subordinate is just a way of differentiating between organizations in relation or relative to when we're talking in an org chart or a navigate hierarchy. So that's how it looks. So I'm saying that supervisory, you will see these three terms commonly interchangeably used: subordinate, superior, supervisory. The primary thing to understand is all these three are of type supervisory. It's just that when we talk about them in reference to other, one is subordinate, the other one is a superior. Like in this case, HR operations department is a subordinate to what? Human resources. or HR operation department, if you open the details, has a superior, which is human resources, and has some subordinates also, which means HR operations department report to human resources, and these two organizations report to HR operations department. But as you can see here, the type is supervisory. The type of this also is supervisory, and the same goes for the other subordinates. The type is supervisory. So don't get yourself confused that, oh no, this is of type subordinate. No, subordinate and superior are not types of organization. These are just way of telling that in reference to other organizations. All of them are of type supervisory. And only the top level you have to create using the create supervisory organization. All the rest of the structure, you have to create it using create subordinate option. So all you need to do is related actions based on what type of view you want it. You go to navigate hierarchy or org chart. So I'll prefer navigate hierarchy whenever I'm working with organizations. It's much cleaner. So likewise, you have to create at least 4 levels. So this is your level 0. CEO, then you have executives, then you can have directors. Below directors, you can have senior managers, then managers. So at least 4 levels you have to create. I'm not going to create 4 levels because it's anyway going to get refreshed, because my tenant is of type GMS and yours is of type implementation. So yours won't get refreshed for a long period of time, but mine will get refreshed every week. So wanted to check, quickly take a quick pause and see if anyone has any questions related to this. So the assignment, if you want to note it down, you can note it down. Create 4 levels of organizations, supervisory organizations, starting from the CEO on the top level. And if your company has a specific subtype, like supervisory, you cannot change that. That's the Workday delivered type, but you can have your own subtype. And if you want, you can create that using the option maintain organization subtype. The location hierarchy is the reason we do location hierarchy is to club locations together in a hierarchy. Because if you notice something, when we create locations, the system does not ask for a reorganization event. That means if you're creating 10 locations, they are just straight up in the system open. There is no hierarchy set to it. No location reports to anything. So location hierarchy is a way to create a reporting structure for those locations. Now to your use case, you can change the location anytime. Not exactly anytime, but ideally there should not be any, added employees or associated workers to that locations. Then only you can change it. But the thing that you have to understand here is you don't associate locations with organization. They are associated with workers directly. We have not reached to that point. The organization assignments only applies on supervisory organization. We associate all the other types of organizations like cost center company to supervisory organization, not the other way around. Because employees are hired within supervisory organizations. So your location hierarchy, if ideally the common way that we have seen is you have a remote location, you have an office location, you have multiple offices. Like my company has a good amount of offices just in Netherlands and Belgium, like multiple office physical locations. So to cater that, we create one location hierarchy in Netherlands. Within that, we have all those physical locations that we put up. And depending upon where we are hiring the employees, we select that location at the time of hiring. So I'll get this done first. So you can use maintain organization subtypes to create your own type of subtypes. So what you do is you navigate to, let's say, the supervisory here. You actually click on the plus sign. Let's say you want to create your own type, which is Velvet. Give it the name test and select to which organization types this will be applicable. The reason we have because of this, it was giving that name. So I'll save that. Now, if I want to create another organization, let's say I want to create one level down. Reorg, create subordinate. Velvet director. Product outlet. So GTM, like go to market kind of thing. Right. Now in this subtype, you will see that option, Velvet test. So you can create that of your own if you want to. If your company uses something else other than this. But ideally, we go with the ones that Workday delivered. Only in case where something is not available, we create our own. Right. And you can see here primary location, Velvet, Connecticut. Location is inherited from Superior. So you can change that also, not a problem. Now coming to the location hierarchy, create location hierarchy. Excuse me for a second. This loads. So we'll use this task to create the location hierarchy. Ideally, the ideal setup that the company should have is you should have a top level location, which is basically the location hierarchy for your headquarters, wherever your company headquartered is, where everything reports up to. So let's say I'll give it the name as Velvet Top Location Hierarchy. Subtype, since I'm not very convinced with this, so I'll create my own then. I'll use the task again. And if you notice, the Velvet is not available here because I only enabled it for supervisory type. What I'll do is I'll use the same to enable it for location as well. I'll use this, visibility everyone. So what I'll do is I'll just create the whole structure here. Here you do have an option of organization assignment. You can attach a different company cost center, but that will be applicable in matrix organization types or custom types. Okay, that is part of the advanced HCM and a rare scenario that we need to use if we have a different requirement of creating workers which report to multiple organizations. That is when we use these, but at locations, we usually don't assign any organization assignments. So we follow the same pattern. You have created your top level location hierarchy. You can then again go to reorganization. Organize all the access. It usually is. Someone must have removed it. But they may not be. So what you do is you can create locations here. Like the one that I did was the Boston one, sorry, Connecticut. I can at least assign it to my top level. I'll go to location, assign location hierarchies. Now when assigning that, it does ask for the reorg. And this is where I'll add that. Top level. And that is on my organization will have a member for this. And any employee, so when we do the hiring, we do not give them Velvet Top LH. We associate them with Velvet Connecticut. And then our members start get populating. So if you have multiple offices, I can create another location here. Any postal code from Boston anyone has, because if I enter the wrong one, it will give me an error. Let's see if this one works. I'll just add in the time profile and leave the rest to the default ones. Probably because of this 0208. I can follow the same process, but this, if I do this for every location, that will be an additional step for me. So what I can do is I'll directly go to my location hierarchy, go to the related actions, go to organization, go to reorganization and use assign locations. It does the same thing that we did earlier, just we have to enter we can actually select more locations that here. So we don't have to go from location to location hierarchy. We can go from location hierarchy to locations. So now you have this here. And if you look at the org chart of it won't seem to navigate. You can see these are of type location hierarchy and these are of type location. Now, whenever you hire someone in any organization, you use this. You don't use this. But once they're hired in this, they automatically shows as a count of members in the location hierarchy also. So I think that adds another assignment for all of you is to create your location hierarchy structure and complete it. See, this is very important. You have to complete your organization structures. If you don't complete it, you won't get a full understanding of how other things work. Any questions with any particular topic that we have done so far? So supervisory organization, you have to create your complete structure. Location hierarchy, if you don't have it, please create it. Ideally, it should be your top level location hierarchy, then EMEA, APAC, Europe, not Europe, basically US. Within that, so basically going back to this visual here, let me open that. So if you all recall this visual, we looked into it in the initial session. This is what you have to create for your supervisory. This is what you have to create for your location hierarchies. Cost center, just 1 or 2 is fine. You don't need much. It's more of a finance thing. But at least you should have your supervisory structure ready, your location structure ready. We talked about this in the initial sessions. We have seen this multiple times, and this is what we have to create. I hope this visual bring back some conversations we had. So please get those done. Right, to your question, yes, we can definitely look into the hierarchies here. Refresh the page. I'm not sure what's happening in the backend. The tenant is really, really slow today. So Usha, to your point, you can navigate to the related actions and click on the org chart or navigate hierarchy to look at those organization structures. I wanted to show you, but the tenant does not seem to favor it. So you go to the related actions from your supervisory organization or any type of organization that you have, org chart or navigate hierarchy, the 2 buttons, the difference which I explained earlier, any one of them. Or you can, from a worker profile, you can also click on that team button. It also gives you the same thing. This is a matrix organization. You see these dotted lines. This is a custom organization type called as matrix organization. Just covered in advanced HCM. I'm just giving you a small thing. So this is how you can look at, but yeah, if you want to see the company or a cost center or location hierarchy organization chart, we'll have to do that in a different tab. You cannot do it in the same tab. The one that we create depends. See, you have that option of visibility, right? You create it, we select everyone. Everyone's mean everyone in the organization can see it. But ideally for cost center, we use some other option than everyone. But in this test environment, we select everyone because if we hide it, then sometimes we also are not able to find it. For supervisory organization, yes, it's everyone. For location, it will be everyone because these are like public information. There's no hidden things in this.